Last time we were discussing the message Sagli bant banai ape, ape kare karaye thape, ikkas te hoyo ananta nanak ekas samahe samaye jee-o. He is the creator of all the creation, and he is the sustainer of all the creation. He is the doer, and when somebody else seems to be doing something, actually it is his way of working. Ape kare karahi. Kare means to do himself. Karahi means to have someone else do it for him. The entire humanity and the entire creation is in that mode, which is karahi. He is manifesting through us. From the outside, when we observe, we draw the conclusion that someone else is doing something. For example, right now, some words are being spoken here and some words are being heard over there. And we can fall into the illusionary trap, the intellectual trap set by our own language. And the language is a human creation. The human creation thought about communicating with each other and it developed language. Now you can see that when the languages were being developed, it was automatic that one will be a subject and the another will be an object. So that means there will always be two for the language to exist. With that model in mind, the language of duality kept on evolving, kept on growing up, until the mystics, spiritualists appeared on the horizon and they started talking in the language of one. There is only one. So now the linguist has a problem, because there is no word in the dictionary of the entire universal languages which can describe or which can speak just about one. So you can see this right now. If you say, she is very pretty, without using the words, you have called somebody ugly. Think about it. How is she pretty? With respect to what? Something that is ugly. And you have not used the word. That's the trap of the language. When the mystic says there is only one, the mind says who's the other? Because it cannot recognize one by itself. There is no concept. Right from the childhood. There are always two. There is a child and there is a mother. There is a child and there is a father. There are always two. And the communication starts. Now, how do you start a communication when there is only one? So the mystic says, stop wondering about it. Don't go there. You just do not have the capability to understand it, to rationalize it, to appreciate it, or to explain it. You just accept. What is there to accept? सगली बनत बनाई आपे. One and then many. आपे करे कराए थापे. The doer. When was he the doer? Today we know he is manifesting through us. If somebody asks us, when was he doer directly? When he was creating all of this. When he was initiating this process. Once we, the human, appeared on the consciousness of the creation, he assigned us all the responsibility, gave us all the features of being able to create. That sounds very foreign to our ears. What do you mean, I create? Yes, you create. How? Well, he gave you the iron, he never gave you the knife, did he? He just gave you the iron. And you created knife out of it. He gave you the gold and you created ornament out of it. So look around you. All he did was create the raw material and then gave you the capability to take that raw material and mold it in any which way that you can use it to your benefit. So in that sense, you are a co-creator of the creation. Because if we take this very example, if he knows already that a woman likes to wear the ornaments, why keep on creating the gold? Why not give the ornament directly and say, okay, fine, you like this? Here is it. Why doesn't he do that? I said, I'm not going to do that. That's for you. There is a beautiful poem written by a Punjabi poet, and the gist of that poem is that he is complaining to the Creator, you should have made my stomach like a snake's stomach, because a snake can stay without eating anything up to 6 months. Why didn't you make my stomach like that? I had to get up every morning and go and rake up the leaves and the things and bring it for the fire, and then I have to go look for the grain, and etc., etc. And in that poem, he says the God spoke back to me and asked, how many cities have been built by snakes? What have a snake created ever out of the raw material that I gave him? Had I made your stomach also like the snake, you will also be crawling on the ground, doing nothing. It is your hunger that wakes up every 8 hours, that forces you to use the power, the intellect and the instruments that I have given you, means 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 legs, which coordinate together and they build something. That's the reason your stomach is not like a snake's stomach. You are a co-creator, you are a partner. But in that partnership, we got lost. Rather than thinking that he is manifesting through us, we started claiming, I am doing it. And that gave the birth to the most difficult problem to solve for the humanity, and that is the problem of ego. We created it. He didn't give it to us. We could have continued accepting this statement, such a simple statement, ape kare karai ape. He is the doer, or he is using someone to get his work done. But ultimate credit goes to him. And how did he start this game? Ikkaste hoyo ananta. From one, the many. Ikkas means one, ananta means too many. He became many from the one, and there is a reminder for all of us. Eventually, everything will go and merge into the same one. Ikkas mahi samaye jee-o. This one that we are talking about, are there any other pointers to recognize him? The next hymn gives some more pointers to recognize him. And the very first pointer is Parabh abhinaasee ta kya kaarhaa. Abhinaasee, indestructible. Vinash means to get destroyed. Abhinash means indestructible. Everything else in the creation, no matter how small or how big, they all are mortals. There's only one thing that is immortal. Everything else is mortal. Even the biggest hills and mountains, they also disappear. If you study the geological maps of the earth, they can actually tell you that the highest mountain that is in India, the Himalayas, was actually created by the movement of the tectonic plates, and it pushed the ground up, and suddenly a new mountain appeared. It wasn't there forever and ever. If that was created, it automatically means that someday it will be destroyed also. Every beginning has an end. So there are two ways to look at it. The death is there because the birth is there. Or the birth is there because the death is there. What is this? It is a model to explain that there are certain things that are destructible and there are certain things that are not indestructible. abhinaasee ta kya kaarhaa, har bhagvantaa ta jan kharaa sukhaalaa. So now the thought is that if you get associated with the indestructible, doesn't it automatically follow that all fears will automatically go away? Think about it. If you are a friend with a more powerful person, don't you feel secure? Those of you who watched that movie trilogy of Godfather, you would notice that as Corleone's family was settling in New York, suddenly the people were coming to become their friends. And if there was ever any problem with the law or with the neighbor, all they had to says, I am friend of Vito Corleone, and that would be enough to solve the problem. Here the model says, forget about the Godfather. How about the father of us all? If you become associated with him, wouldn't the little fears disappear? And we keep on saying, no, that doesn't work. That's just a theory. But have you ever tried it? We have never, ever surrendered 100% control to him. And the very first line says, Parabh abhinaasee ta kya kaarhaa. Then where is the worry? And why worry? Why? Because you are actually associated with the indestructible under all circumstances. In the reverse way, if you are only friends with the destructible, then your fears are going to stay. You can't get rid of that. You can say, I am a friend of the President of the United States who is the most powerful man on earth. Say, well, okay, it makes sense. I'll stay away from you while he is the President. And when he is not the President, then what? He is also destructible. His power is also destructible. So why lean on something that is going to disappear one day or the other? Why not to build the relationship with the one who is abhinaasee, who is indestructible, unchanging? There is another metaphor used in the scripture of a husband and wife. Why are you trying to be a wife of the one who is going to die someday? Be the wife of the one who never dies. Look at the secret hidden, that if you accept the Creator as your husband, you can never be a widow, you can never be a divorcee. Now mare na hove sog, denda rahe na chuke bhog. There will never be a sad moment in your life. Why? Because you are married to the ultimate husband. There has been one woman in the mystical tradition of India, and her name was Meerabai. And it's a contemporary story, it's not too old. From the childhood, the Meerabai said, I am married to Krishna. And the parents first, she's young girl. As she grows up, she will understand the ways of the world. But it didn't happen. Eventually, the parents forced her. She was a princess, born into a royal family, and they found a royal young man for her and forcefully married her off. And when she meets her husband, she just goes, she doesn't say anything. When she meets her husband for the first time, she looks at him and says, all you have brought home is a body, a skeleton. I am already married. And he said, then he is my rival, I want to find out who it is. And he said, I am married to Krishna. No matter what they did, they could not move her mind away from that thought. The husband sent Meerabai back home, and eventually she was poisoned because they couldn't stop her from loving Krishna. And she kept on saying the same thing again. She is holding the poison in her hand and says, if this has been sent by my husband, I should drink it. And the drinking will only take care of my body, that's it. Nothing else it can touch. So those who are stuck on my body, let them have their way. By saying that, she drinks the poison and dies. The moral of the story is that when you are related with the ultimate, then there is no fear, there is no pain, there is no concern. Everything is taken care of by him. Parabh abhinaasee taa kya kaaraa, har bhaagvantaa taa jan kharaa sukhaalaa. And the second statement says, it is not exclusive to any single individual. A caste, a creed, a gender, it has nothing to do with it. Har Bhagvantaa, anyone who has accepted him, no exception to that rule. It is not saying about anything about a Muslim, a Hindu, a Sikh, a Christian, it's not saying anything. It is saying, Har Bhagvantaa ta jan kharaa sukhaalaa. That individual who is friend of him is forever blissful. Anybody who has a doubt in this, try it. जिया प्राण मान सुख दाता तू करे सोई सुख पावने-आ. Jia. Jia means the one who breathes in you. That's the Jia. Jia is not this body, it's not this mind, it's not this intellect. Jia means the one who is breathing inside you. That is the ultimate grace, benediction given to the humanity from him is this Jia. Because so long as that which breathes in us remains with us, we remain in the body. Once that which breathes in us disappears, the body can stay here. Medical students come in and they cut and chop and see and they study the body. Same thing, all the organs are perfectly in touch. And they study. Why are they free to study that? Because that which was breathing inside isn't there anymore. Then that body is not different than this wood. Just as you can cut the wood, you can cut the body. And study is purpose. But those who have, while breathing, accepted this model, which is Parabh abhinaasee taan kya kaarhaa, har bhagvantaa taan jan kharaa sukhaalaa, jiya pran maan sukh daata tu kare soi sukh paavni-aa. The one who has accepted it has accepted also to spend the breathing hours on this planet in a blissful state. What is the requirement? So we are reminded again. The requirement is varee, jee-o, gurmukh manatan bhaavni-aa. Surrender thy ego. How? That self. Varee. Sacrifice it. If you want to experience that state, sacrifice it. Everyone, varee, jee-o, gurmukh manatan bhaavni-aa. Anybody who listens to the Master, follows the Master, they all can testify to this statement. Tu mera parbat, tu mera olaa, tum sang lavai na lavani-aa. So if you are accepting him as a friend, as a protector, if that's what you are doing, then all responsibilities are automatically his. You don't need to do anything. And you can look at the same Godfather story again, that on the day of his wedding, his daughter's wedding, the entire community that he is responsible for is coming with the complaints and saying, I have this problem, somebody beat my son up, somebody raped my daughter, etc., etc. And he is solving every single problem for them. Why? Because he is the Godfather. He has taken the responsibility of protecting that territory. And the mystics are saying, why are you looking for small protections? Why don't you go to the protector of the entire universe? Those who have accepted it, for them, tu mera parbat. Parbat literally means the hill, the mountain. That means the high. If there is anything higher, then it is you. Tu mera olaa. Olaa literally means to hide somebody from harm, to protect. If a harm is coming, why I need to hide behind anything else? I'll hide behind you. Tum sang lavai na laavani-aa. With you, everything is safe. With you, I have no other place to look for or to go to. Tayraa keetaa jis laagai meethaa. Anyone who develops the capacity to say, thy will be done. Anyone. Tayraa keetaa jis laagai meethaa. Jis means anyone. Tayraa keetaa means your will. Anyone who accepts meethaa laagai. No matter what you're doing, if anyone who can find pleasureful taste in it, ghat paarbarahm deethaa. If your will becomes acceptable, then a sudden miracle happens. And what is that miracle? Ghat paarbarahm deethaa. Then he starts accepting that first statement, which was ape kare karahi-Aap. He is the doer. He is either manifesting through me or he is manifested directly, but he is it all. Then suddenly, everywhere, he is working. Instead of sitting here and saying, Jennifer is sitting here, there, no, he is sitting there. Suddenly that distinction of the body form, the shape, the color, the age, everything disappears. He is sitting, he is sitting, he is sitting, he is sitting, he is sitting. Everywhere. Why? Thy will be done. Here you are manifesting this way, there you are manifesting that way. But it's you. That becomes possible only. You can say that only. You can see that only if Tayraa keetaa jis laagai meethaa. The one who has accepted thy will be done, that individual will become capable of seeing you manifesting everywhere. Not intellectually. We repeat this statement all the time, don't we? Thy will be done, thy will be done. But the question is, can we say this at the cross when we are slowly bleeding to death? Can we say that? Then thy will be done. It doesn't work that way. It has to become part of your inner being, not just an intellectual concept. These are not just the words. This is not a theory. This is not a hypothesis. This is not a model. You have to live it. You have to be it. These are the things. Just like you cannot declare your silence. Right? Can the silence be declared? Look at the oxymoron. I am declaring my silence. How? I am telling you I am silent. Isn't it? You cannot declare. So what is the answer then? What should we do? If you want to prove to somebody you are silent, then be silent. Don't declare it. Because in the declaration you have broken the silence. When you say, thy will be done, then don't just intellectually say it, live it. Be that individual. Don't declare to the world, I believe in thy will be done. It is not a belief system. It is something to be lived. People ask me, how do you know when you will be enlightened? What's an enlightenment? You got nuts. An enlightenment cannot be declared. It can only be lived. It can only be experienced. You show me one scripture where Buddha said, I am enlightened now. No mistake can say that. Because the moment he says the enlightenment is gone, I has come in. Isn't it? To declare you need the I. Don't you? Anything you want to declare. I don't lie. Okay, fine. But I exist. I always tell the truth. But I exist. All declarations require I. So how do you get out of this trap? You don't declare it. You become it. You start living it. So this statement, tayraa, keetaa, jis laagai, meethaa, this is not a hypothesis. Thy will be done is being lived every moment. Ghat paarbarahm ten jan deethaa. And if he is able to live it, then here is a miracle for you. This individual will be able to say, it is not Jennifer, it is him. His eyes will not stop at the skin, the clothes, nothing. It will go straight to the soul. And in the soul, you see just him. Ghat paarbarahm. In every being, he will be able to experience that, see that, provided he has learned to live the ultimate truth. Thy will be done. थान खरंतर तू है एक को एक vartaavani-aa. Than thanantar. Meaning, there is no exception to this rule. When somebody says everywhere, then it means everywhere. Now, a scientist will argue with you, prove to me that this table is alive. And all you can tell that scientist is, I do not need to prove you anything. You bring the largest electronic microscope and put at any single spot on this table, and you will find electrons moving around the nucleus. You will see the life. You will see the movement. But with your eyes are not capable of even seeing 20 frames put in front of your eyes within a second. We all know that in order to see the movie, our eyes cannot distinguish if 16 frames are passed through in front of your eyes in a second. If the more frames are passing, you cannot recognize the picture. If lesser frames are passing, they are herky-jerky. That is your limit. You cannot see the ultraviolet rays. You can see the light only in a very limited spectrum. Similarly, you cannot hear all the frequencies. You hear in a very small spectrum. When your instruments are that limited, how I am going to show you the unlimited one? Can't you just get that into your head? Unlimited cannot be perceived by the limited one. And every single instrument is limited. Those of you who follow the scientific developments, this past week, they published an article that for the last 50 years, they've been saying that the universe is 13.7 billion years old. They are now correcting it to 13.89 billion years. They have added more than 200 million years to the age of the universe simply by recalculating, recalibrating and finding finer instruments, and now they are saying we were wrong then. What's the guarantee you are not wrong now? But a human arrogance and ego would not surrender. Here we are talking about the one who has surrendered the ego. And if he surrenders the ego, tayraa keetaa jis laagai meethaa, ghat ghat paarbarahm tin jin deethaa. Thaan tarantar tum hai, ikko ik vartaavani-aa. That he sees him everywhere. No exception to the rule. Sakal manorath tu devanahara. You are the real giver. Human cannot give anything to anyone. That sounds very strange. And particularly those who pass the hat in the church or in the mosque or wherever, they'll get very angry with me. Because they claim, I am giving this much to the church, or to the mosque, or to the temple. Here the fundamental question that's being asked, whatever you are giving, you tell me, where did you get it? I worked for it. Is that true? Yes. From 8 to 5, I did this work and I made so much money. Okay. Is this so much money the value of 8 hours of work? Yes. What is happening to the guy who's breaking the stones on the road and working 8 hours? Is he not working 8 hours? Yes, he's working. Then why isn't the value of 8 hours the same as your paycheck of 8 hours? I studied. I am educated. Okay. Why isn't the labor value of the class fellow who sat with you but could not finish because his parents could not afford the fee and he had to drop out. Was he not trying to study? You see, no matter where you take it, eventually you will have to come to the point that whatever I am getting is His grace. My work doesn't matter, my effort doesn't matter, my heart, nothing matters. It is His grace. It is His will. He is choosing to make me successful or a failure. Last night I was just browsing and ran into a movie called Conversations with God by Neil Walsh. And the movie basically says that how difficult a time and physical crisis, he ran into an accident, broke his neck and lost his job, and then nobody will hire him. He ended up on the streets and eating out of the garbage dumpsters and so forth. And the story basically says that one night on a yellow pad he writes down, "What do you expect of me? I need some answers." And suddenly he hears a voice from his head which says, "Are you sure you want answers? Because answers I will give. They may not be necessarily the answers you are looking for." And that's how his life starts, and he starts jotting that down. Eventually that book is published, and the very first publisher gives him $1.5 million as a publishing rights. And now suddenly he's on around the world tour telling the people that the God speaks to everyone in their own voice. They just need to be quiet enough to listen. That's his whole message. He speaks to everyone. I laughed when he had this twist to the words. He says, I asked him, I want money. And God says, I'm doing exactly that. So what do you mean you are doing exactly that? Look at me, I didn't even eat for 3 days. No, you're not paying attention. You said, I want money. If you get the money, you will never want it. I am just making sure that you want money. By not giving you, you keep wanting money. He said, that's not fair. He said, okay, let me tell you, you are a co-creator with me. Anything that's followed by the I, that is done. If you say I want, you will be wanting. I need, you will be needing. So I laughed. I said, what a play with the words. But it's irrelevant. He is selling to the full houses. In Russia and in China, communist countries, is going on a speaking tour with this message. And somebody gets up in the crowd and says, you are all a fraud. You are telling a lie. What do you mean God listens? I adopted a son. He wanted to meet his birth mother, and I promised him that when he turns 18, I will make every effort to find his birth mother. And on his 18th birthday, he runs into a car accident and dies on the spot. You tell me, where is God talking to me? Look at his answer. His mother had died 4 years ago. You promised your son that he will meet his mother on his 18th birthday. How else could that promise be kept other than him dying and going to his mother to meet? Your promise was kept by him. And his son's desire was also fulfilled. So how you can deny God? What I'm sharing with you is, you can take any model and put it in any kinds of words. It's totally irrelevant, because that is just gymnastics of the language. Just have a simple belief system, simple faith. He is, and he is the doer. Why and how he sets up all these games, stop worrying. Stop bothering. So do what? Sagala manor tu devanahara. Everything is eventually given by you. So in that movie they show that when she got that explanation, that you think that dying of that young 18 years old was a tragedy in your life and you cannot forgive God for doing this, he was doing your work. He was making sure that your son meets his biological mother on his 18th birthday. And that suddenly put this lady's mind at so much peace, the tears dried up, and they show her buying the other 2 volumes. There are 3 volumes of Conversation with God. Whatever gives you that satisfaction, that solace, no matter what is happening in your life, however good or bad, God is doing your work. Nothing is happening without him. If he is creating certain situations, he wants you to learn from those and grow spiritually. Get closer to him. Sagal manorotu devanahara, bhakti bhaa-ay bhare bhandara, daya dhar rakhe tud sei pure karma samaavani-aa. It is his grace, daya. It is compassion that's running this whole universe. And we are not even this much grateful to him to just say thank you. But we are ready and quick at the draw to complain. We are never that quick to say thank you. Sakal manorotu devanahara, bhakti bhaa-ay bhare bhandara. His meditation, his memory is what makes this world go. Daya dhar rakhe tud sei pure karma samaavani-aa. Those who are recipient of his compassion and acknowledge it, they slowly start getting closer to him. Andkoopte kadde chade kar kirpa das, nadar nihale gun gaave pooran abhinaasee, kaisan tot na aavani-aa. Andkoopte kande chade. Out of the darkness. Now we are immediately going to think the darkness means switch off the lights. No, this is a mystical word. It's not the darkness of the outside. It is the darkness on the inside. Those who develop this urge, when they start the process, they will see that there is darkness inside. You can close the eyes now, the lights are still on. Try to see inside. Do you see any light inside? What is that? That is the darkness of his absence. He is hiding in there. He is not turning on that switch. So when you see inside, you will see darkness. But if you get on the path and accept the word, andkoopte kande chade. Kande means the thorns, the things that prick us, things that pain us, disturb us. He says you start walking on that path, he will start clearing the thorns out of your way. He will help you. That parable of the lost sheep by Jesus Christ is talking about that. The sheep that's lost, he goes looking for it. He's helping. The sheep that have come home by following the crowd, he's not worried about them. They don't need any help. But the sheep that is searching, gets lost in the world, he comes down and starts guiding them. You read the biography of any mystic, they will tell you clearly at what point or at what juncture they received the help. Andkoopte kande chade, kar kirpa das nagar nihale. His grace becomes an automatic flow toward that energy who is willing to walk on the path. Gun gaave pooran abhinaasee. All you need to do is get into the mode of his prayer, his meditation, and stay there. For how long? Kahasun tot na aavani-aa. Continue repeating it till he has not heard you completely. So we'll take a pause here and open for any comments or questions.